Oh, wait, here we go. Okay, now I got something going. I had OBS, but it was too difficult to get it to work. All right, so I switched over to StreamYard because it's a lot easier to get it started up. Although once you get it going, it has limited options. So at some point, I'll have to work on OBS. And the reason why I started this, so this is going to be episode 1 for the week ending Friday, September 15th, and I'm making this on the September 16th, is that I was looking around and lamenting that there seemed to be really nothing like Louis Rukeyser's Wall Street Week. And fortunately, I found a copy of his March 22nd program, which I was kind of surprised to see was available still online or had made it to a digital copy, because word had it, or rumored, that when they were going to replace him with somebody else and change the whole format of his show and dump him out as a host, that he had a scathing monologue on his March 22nd, 2002 show, and that Maryland Public Television executives were so enraged that they destroyed the master copies. If you go to MPT's website and you take a look at it, it doesn't seem to be there. However, doing a general internet search, I did find an archive, and I downloaded a copy to my own machine, so I always got it available. Apparently, they had a little hissy fit, and he finished out that quarter's contracts to the end of June. He showed up again 3 weeks later, so he had a week off, I guess, while they all fought over everything, and everyone fussed and fumed as to what was going to happen. And then he went on to CNBC, but unfortunately, he only continued broadcasting till the end of 2004 because his declining health didn't permit him to keep going, and he passed away May 2006. So the funny thing about Maryland Public Television, if they really were gonna interested in transitioning his program, if they had just simply waited a year and a half, he would have been forced due to declining health to step down, possibly even sooner, because I think at the time he was living in Greenwich or New York City area, and he was driving I assume he was driving, but maybe he was taking the train every Friday all the way down to Maryland to his to their studio. And there was I found a video online where he talked about his typical day, where he'd arrive early afternoon and basically work on the program all day, do the broadcast, um, then socialize with the guests afterwards. Um, and he wouldn't get out of the studio till like a little after midnight. So I can't see where he was driving down there and back all in the same day. But again, I sort of it's like, how come nothing else has really come up replacing it? I mean, I guess there's still, in theory, a Wall Street Week uh, program rights, but except for the name, what does one really have? And it seemed like, to get around any naming rights, they just called it Louis Rukeyser's Wall Street Week. So basically, he had a very simple format, and I'm going to see, how do you, oh, wait, edit layout, new layout, background. Wait, I'm trying to get the second monitor. Nope. Oh, wait, here we go. Presentation. Share screen. Yes. Select the tab to share. Window. Oh, here we go. All right. So basically, well, of course, since this is episode 1, well, not even, episode broadcast 1, not even sure what to call it. Broadcast 1, week ending Friday, September 15th, 2023. broadcast Saturday, September 16th, 2023. I don't know. I'm going to call it a broadcast because an episode would make it sound like it was like a TV show or series or something, which doesn't really, I wouldn't expect it to really apply to something that's supposed to be like a news broadcast. So I guess what I'll do is I'll talk about some of my older stock picks that I made on this channel. X US Steel, CLF is like, wait a minute. Clifton Cliffs, which has, I guess it's actually declined slightly when I, well, again, in the interest of full disclosure, I don't hold any registrations, and as quote the Raven would say, nobody should ever listen to anything that I say as far as investing, and you should seek your own professional advisors before investing any money in everything. CLF, at the time it was trading about 20, and I liked it because it had such a low price earnings ratio, and it was in steel, which seemed to be up and coming the way things were going. It's actually backed off, and it's not doing as well as I had. Its earnings seem to have declined, so the price earnings ratio isn't too bad. I expect as time goes on, it should hold its own. U.S. Steel has done better. Think about the time I was talking about it was like around 20. It's got a lower price earnings ratio than CLF. So again, I would at this point term it a hold. And then I guess the other things that I have, well, again, I would probably say the world. Fortunately, it seems like we're starting. We, meaning the United States, we seem to be wanting to fight everyone, which is usually a prescription for losing. And it looks like the petrodollar is dead. Basically, the deal we made after the Bretton Woods agreement broke down because we couldn't keep, because we didn't have the gold to back up our dollar, so we went off the gold standard in 71. So after that, we had the petrodollar standard. We made a deal with countries like Saudi Arabia that we would defend them, and in return, they would require everybody in the world to buy oil in dollars, which is what's been propping up our currency all this time. But since the Ukraine war, we weaponized the dollar, just simply seizing reserves and such. And as a result, everybody's probably going to get off it as soon as they possibly can and go to something else or anything else. And once that happens, we're going to probably have a bout of hyperinflation, which sort of feeds into my selected stock picks. VZ, which is Verizon, and T, which is AT&T. So let me just get over here. And the attraction for both of them is that they have unusually high so currently AT&T is at 15. The chart's just sort of slumping along or limping along. However, the yield is a little over 7% currently. So long term, you could buy that and you could do a drip plan where basically instead of taking your dividends, they're reinvested in the stock. So basically by doing that, you could get a long-term rate of return on it at 7% for a large company like AT&T. And one of the interesting things about that is that if we have a bout of hyperinflation because they have all kinds of debt, the borrowing would be like nothing, and it would allow them to pay it off, or everything to drop to the bottom line as profit. And actually, wait, we'll go take a look at. Let's see what we got for financials. For some reason, I'd have to look more. It seems strange that they would be revenue would be off by about a third over the last few years. Operating income is only down slightly, even though revenue is off by a third. Not really clear why in 2022 they're losing money. Again, they're a utility. They should be relatively stable. Uh, Even though revenue's off from 2019, their earnings per share seems to be up. Although possibly, well, I think AT&T, they did some sort of strange merger with Dish Network or Fox, or maybe they did both, and it's dragging them down for a few years. Verizon may be a better choice. So let's see. Revenue is marching up slowly across time. Gross profits slowly marching up. Operating income's marching up over the time. Interest expense seems to be coming down. A few years ago, it looks like it was over 4 billion. I assume this is all in thousands. It's got to be in thousands. No, I think it's in This has got to be in millions. Yeah, if this was only in thousands, this would only be 135 million in revenue, which can't be right. It's got to be in millions. That would make it 135 billion, which seems more reasonable. So let's see. So interest expense is coming down as they pay down their debt. And again, income from continuing operations, except for the blip in 2017, it's been marching up. So I would probably say between AT&T and Verizon, Verizon's the better of the two. And I think Verizon has a slightly higher dividend yield. Let me just check that for a minute. A summary. 7.8. Yep. Versus AT&T's like 7.2. Yep. I would probably pick Verizon over AT&T. And let me see if you get any drip. Verizon. Oh, wait a minute. Why isn't it showing? Nope, it keeps. That's interesting. I've been talking about stuff and it's only hasn't been changing anything. Wait, share, hide. How do I change what it's sharing? Present. All right, so I changed it from window sharing to screen. So as I change stuff, it actually will change it now. All right, so Verizon here, see the yield 7.8 and T 7.2. So you're getting about 0.5% higher with Verizon. Plus, well, look at here. Going here, so I don't know, they had a big drop off for some reason. I can't see whether that was all just COVID, something else. They must have disposed of a division or something. Or I don't know. I think they bought Dish Network, and I think that's been a real dog. I think they were considering selling it off, it was reported, and they decided not to because they were going to have to take a big charge off if they did that. Probably as time goes on and they get to expense more of the purchase, they'll eventually get the value of it on their books down to what they could get for it, and then at that point they'll just dump it off. Again, the interest expense, it's coming down a little, but again, I don't know, somehow the phone company's managing to lose money. Gotta wonder what's going on there. And they have their net income zigzagging all over the place. Where Verizon, they're making money and it's marching up like it should. So you take a look here. Not a losing, they haven't lost, they haven't had a losing year, and the net income is, their operating income is marching up across the board like it should be, or for basically a stable regulated business. And let's see, I don't know. Well, again, this is just my first one or first episode, so I'll do another one of these next week. We'll see. Can I get anything? Let me see. How do I get this to work? I don't know. I'm on a live stream, but how do I get the? I guess my question is, how do I get the? Well, let's see. I guess even though I got a live stream, I can make it. I can go to another window. Well, let's see. I guess even though I got a live stream, I can make it. I can go to another window. I just had a little feedback effect because I was playing my stream while I was doing the stream. And it looks like the audience is 0. Nobody in chat. So I guess for the first video of this, I'll consider this quote a success. At least I got it to stream, where with OBS I couldn't get it to really do anything. And then, whoops. What am I? I guess I'll end the stream now. And next week, now that I got something to work, I'll work on getting it to work better. So I'll try every week on Friday or Saturday evenings to do a broadcast around 9 p.m. or 10. I'd like to ideally do it an hour, but I don't know if I have enough material for that. So it may be like just 20 or 30 minutes. So hopefully this will be something that we'll be able to do every week and, in some way carry on the legacy of Wall Street Week. Again, I don't pretend that I could ever be as good as Louis Rukeyser, but unfortunately, it doesn't seem like anyone out there is really trying, and I don't think the problem is that they don't want to. But in order to do something like he did, you had to have like years in as a journalist and dedication, and know the people. Again, it seemed like he knew everybody on Wall Street. So people would talk to him and he would talk to people and know what was going on, or get them to appear as guests on his show. So some of, or they, whoever was available in the Baltimore area would appear. But again, hopefully as I go along, I'll get better at this and people start showing up and asking questions, which would help. All right, so I'm going to sign off for this evening. So I'll see you in 6 or 7 days.